To MusketeersHockey.com for the Coach's Corner. I'm Jordan Berger as the Musketeers pull off a great win last night, 6-4 over the Fargo Force at Shields Arena. And joining me now is Musketeers head coach and GM Brett Larson. And Coach, a lot to talk about with that great win last night. It was a really gritty performance by your guys. You outscored Fargo 3-0 in the third period. And you know, you summed it up pretty well after the game where you talked about you had that tough week last week, but if you're going to have a tough week like that, there needs to be some lessons learned. I think we saw that last night.
I think we did too, and I think the biggest lesson we saw was that, well, I don't know if it's a lesson, but we saw a lot of character in our team. They had a tough week of practice. We went hard, really hard, and they came out and they competed, and they played a real strong team game most of the game.
And three things I liked about that when your team, you wanted to start well, you scored the first goal. Number two, the special teams were absolutely terrific. You hold the second best power play to 0 for 7. And then the attention to detail. You think about the penalty kill laid with blocking shots, getting pucks out, and just played a really smart team game in that, especially in that third period.
As a coach, that's fun to see. You know, it's fun to see the guys buy into the little things, and especially with the penalty kill. There's nothing fun about the penalty kill. That's all blocking shots, and that's heart, and that's just pure work ethic. And to see those guys buy into that made the coaches feel like we got a pretty good team here to work with.
And we talked about this after the game with the contributions up and down the lineup. You have 5 different goal scorers, and let's not forget you were missing Nikita Sirotkin and your captain Noah Nelson. So pretty impressed with the way everybody chipped in that victory.
You know, sometimes when you have guys missing from the lineup, it's almost like it motivates all the other guys to step up even a little bit more. And you see that time and time again in sports, and I think that was an example. You know, like you said, we had 2 vets out. We had guys like Cody Maroney and David Henry, not to mention our top tier guys, but guys like that just absolutely step up and have great games.
Yeah, I was going to mention those two, Cody Maroney, David Henry. I think what you have to like about those guys, you can start seeing a little rhythm from certain players here. We've now played 6 games, and I think it just feels like with those 2 guys, it feels like you know what you're going to get game in and game out from those 2.
Those are the kind of guys you like to have as a coach, because you're right. I don't think there's going to be a lot of peaks and valleys with those guys. I think it's going to be a pretty consistent effort. They make smart plays. They play hard. They're good in their defensive end. They get pucks on the net offensively. I like a lot about the way both those guys are playing.
And, you know, we talked before that game about how the guys were feeling the sense of urgency. It's early in the season, but an important little 5-game stretch. And that win last night, do you feel like it's the kind of victory that can propel your team a bit here?
The big thing will be how we come out Saturday night. You know, it's a mental game, and I think the big thing will be, like we talked about, in 5-game segments. That's how we look at things throughout the year. We need to win this 5-game segment. We have to win it as if it's a 5-game playoff series, and game 2 is always huge. You got to make sure you come back mentally focused and pick things up even a notch more than where you were last game.
We talked about some of your role players with Henry and Maroney, but also your stars really stepped up, and 2 of those players get a pretty big honor today. Jordan Schmaltz and Brett Patterson named to the U.S. Junior Select Team. Pretty good honor for both of those guys, and especially Brett Patterson. He just looks like just a terrific player this year. Looks like a threat every time he steps on the ice. So nice honor for both those guys.
I think so. I obviously Jordan Schmaltz was pretty much a shoo-in. I think everybody knew he was going to make the team, but Brett Patterson really, by his, I think more of a complete game this year so far, earned a spot. They you know, obviously were in contact with us when they're picking that team. They've been impressed with the way he's been playing away from the puck, his compete level, all those things as well. So Patty definitely earned it and should be a big confidence booster for him.
And tomorrow night you guys host the Tri-City Storm for the 2nd time this year, and you know, first game of the year, so, you know, that first game was a loss, but nevertheless, you guys have some great things to build off, and you kind of like that there was you know, you get in at 4 in the morning last night, you're not going right into a game the next night, so maybe not the worst thing that you guys have a day off to regroup and practice here before tomorrow night.
No, I think it's good. We got a new player in Jordan Boucher-Gould. It was good to get him into practice and hopefully build a little comfort level with him. He'll probably get a few shifts tomorrow night. It is nice to be able to recover. It was a physical game. We got some guys banged up a little bit, but you know, for the most part, I think the guys are chomping at the bit to get back at it, and they know that it was a goalie duel out there in Tri-City last game, and they've got 2 wins this year, and both of them are shutouts. So if we don't do what we did last night and get a lot of traffic to that net, we're going to have a hard time scoring some goals. So we got to stick with the same game plan.
Well, Coach, thanks for the time and good luck tomorrow night.
Thanks, Jordan.
That's Musketeers head coach and GM Brett Larson. Come on down and support the guys tomorrow night, 7:05. Musketeers host the Tri-City Storm at Tyson Event Center.